And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles.
You know who is back?
That would be us.
That's right.
Yes. The full force.
I am your host, Tim D-O-double-G. And back with us, providing the sound effects, is at Agent_70 on Twitter.
What's up, everybody?
We also have at PCN_Dirt on Twitter.
Yay!
And we have at RowdyCat on Twitter.
Just madness and shenanigans, I'll tell you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And we are the KLIQ Nation Comic Book Chronicles. You can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles, Comic Book News by going to our website, thekliqnation.com. On the homepage, you'll find links to our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube. And also subscribe to the podcast on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, basically all your favorite podcast listening apps.
Twitch.
That's annoying.
We are part of the CSPN Media conglomerate. Go to cspn.us. Do it today. And make sure to buy some Comic Book Chronicles merchandise by going to shop.cspn.us. We record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And make sure to join in the comic book discussions on social media by using the hashtags Comic Book Chronicles and CBChron. So we're still catching our breaths after San Diego Comic-Con last weekend. A ton of news came out, which we'll get to at the near end portion of the show. But first, we wanted to get some things out the way first.
Yes.
And I'm going to kick it over to my co-host, Agent 70.
Sure. So, I sorry to have missed last week's show. Some family stuff came up, but while I was doing that, some sad news came across my phone. The passing of Chester Bennington, the lead singer of Linkin Park. I know I'm probably the only fan of Linkin Park on the show based on the reception my mention of Linkin Park brought some time ago, but it's still sad when a creative person passes away, especially taking their own life. I wanted to reach out to our listenership and viewership and let you know that we can all help prevent suicide. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline provides 24/7 24 hours, 7 days a week, free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you or your loved ones. Reach out at 1-800-273-8255 if you need help. The website is suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
And to transition to some slightly more upbeat news, we want to take some time out to promote a Kickstarter that was recommended to us by a good friend of the show, William Bruce West. The name of the Kickstarter is Fighter of the Century, or FOTC. It's an MMA cyberpunk comic that is described as fist-flying by punk graphic novel about a mixed martial arts underdog that will go from public punchline to people's champ. And it's from the team of Nick Allen and Troy Jeffrey Allen. And as I said, it takes place in futuristic Brazil. Performance-enhancing drugs have gone from behind-the-scenes banned substances to front and center game changers. And the story follows Rex Punga, a down-on-his-luck farm boy turned MMA fighter, after a drug field incident that nearly ends his career. Punga will attempt a comeback where he takes on not only the behemoths in the ring, but the behemoth that is Big Pharma. But this time he's going to do it all the old school way, naturally. So we'll share a link to the Kickstarter in the show notes. But there's a nice video, of course, that accompanies the story and gives some nice preview art and sort of like the intro story. There's 15 days left on the Kickstarter. They're trying to raise $55,000. They still have a little ways to go. So any pledge or donation would be greatly appreciated. And once again, that is Fighter of the Century. You put a nice ding.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was like, I'm not sure what ding you want. I guess cash.
Yeah, the cash.
There you go.
I don't even I forget I associate that with cash now, but yeah. So now we're going to get to the comic reviews portion of the show. And we're going to start off with that event comic that still has a ways to go, even though next week the first Generations one shot comes out, which took me by surprise when I realized that earlier today. That is Secret Empire #7.
Yeah, that's it. What do we still have? 3 issues to go?
We do, and then an Omega issue.
My goodness.
Because you got to really, put a cap on the event with an Omega issue.
Wait, did you say cap? Oh
He did
no!
just say cap,
yes.
That wasn't even on purpose.
No pun intended. I gotcha.
So, if you followed last year's event storyline, Civil War II, then one of the bigger scenes that happened in that involved Captain America and Miles Morales Spider-Man, which is kind of displayed on the cover there by Mark Brooks. But it was the vision from Ulysses of Peter standing over Miles standing over an impaled Captain America. We get the lead up to that here. Doesn't exactly happen the same way.
Hold on.
Say.
Spoiler alert now.
Another character on the cover gets involved in the brouhaha.
Yeah, definitely. So multiple storylines are intersecting, multiple kind of parallel storylines in this event are intersecting in this issue. We follow up on a bunch of characters whose stories have kind of been in the background for a couple of issues. We're brought back to space and what the status of the Alpha Flight space station is. We have a little bit of introspection from Carol Danvers over the inert body of one Quasar. There's some more stuff that happens in Washington as the Red Room team that Black Widow is leading, and what at TimDog98 was just alluding to is that some of the events that may have been predetermined or destined to happen seem to be on the brink of happening. And there's a couple of cool reveals in this. I like the fact that they do incorporate Mosaic in this. I thought that was a cool little twist.
That was surprising.
Yeah, that was a great little twist. I was like, well, you know what? That was actually like a really inventive way to shoehorn him in here. I don't remember if he was a target of the Hydra Cap plan early on. I'd have to go back and check out the early issues, but it's kind of cool that if that is the case, he came full circle. And basically, my big notes on this were about some of the really spoilerific things that happened in this. So I'm going to ring the bell again. And that'll give us a chance to talk about the super spoilerific stuff that happens in this. The semi-spoilerific stuff is that, I think this has been brewing over the last few issues, is that Hydra Cap's grand plan is to actually reset reality, and bring back some of the heroes who have lost their lives in the wake of this crossover story, using the reformed Cosmic Cube. I think that's been an ongoing plot, but to hear some of the characters actually talk about it, and I think this is the first time I remember hearing or seeing Hydra Cap actually say it out loud that was his plan. It was it's pretty. It's pretty interesting to see, his thought process intertwined with the story that's being told by Spencer in Cap Steve Rogers. And also the other kind of big thing was what happens to the other character that's on the cover, one Natasha Romanoff. And that was pretty surprising. I don't know how, without spoiling too much, how permanent that is, but we'll see.
They've already I guess just to keep spoilers from coming out. They've telegraphed kind of how everything bad that happens might be overturned.
Right. I know BCN_Dirt already showed off his Cosmic Cube last week, but I've got another one.
Multiple dueling Cosmic Cubes.
That's right.
Much more powerful.
I love it.
Now all we need is 5 more, and we can summon the Dragon Balls.
I can do that. I've got a whole stack of them at work.
Oh boy!
Actually, I stopped by one of the other stores in town, and the guy was like, "Oh, we've got these Secret Empire Cosmic Cubes here. You want one?" And I was like, "Oh, sure, I'll take one of those."
Love it, man. Love it. All right.
So yeah, things happen. It seems like every issue has a big oh my god moment or return or reveal. So it's been good in that sense.
But are you enjoying reading the series?
I'm to it. The art, Andrea Sorrentino's art is nice, but I don't think
it doesn't fit.
Fits here.
It doesn't fit. That's been one of my criticisms of the series.
The whole. Yeah, I was gonna say the using all the he gets very creative in his panel layouts, which can be all right in some instances, but here it's very confusing to follow the action.
Agreed.
At least to me.
No, you're not alone in that. I agree with that. Listen, if anyone is interested in reading our show notes, you could see one of the things that I wrote about one of the other books I read this week. Specifically mentions that I sometimes need a welcome relief or respite from the drudgery of reading Secret Empire. Because it feels much like Pleasant Hill, much like Civil War II, I feel like this has come to the point where I just want to get it over with. And I long ago hit that point with the series. So, it's a bad sign.
Yeah, it just needs to
finish up already. Yeah, exactly. Let's hit the tie-in books. I think we can hit the 2 Cap books. I'll take which one do you want to take?
I'll do Sam Wilson.
All right, so I'll just do Cap Steve Rogers. My notes basically say, "Is this over yet?"
Both of these issues, and for some background, I was issue behind on both of these. So I read Captain America Steve Rogers 23 and Sam Wilson, Captain America Sam Wilson. Did 19 come out this week?
No, it's 24. They're both up to 24.
It's for Sam. Oh, 24. Well, no, Steve Rogers isn't 24. That's at 19.
Oh, I apologize.
Yes, I read Steve Rogers 18
Oh, you're
and
right.
Sam Wilson 23 before reading both of these to get totally caught up.
Gotcha.
And I didn't really miss anything I saw.
No, not at all. This is one of those cases where you could read the limited series and get most of what you need. The Steve Rogers issue basically fills in a kind of surprising assassination attempt. I'm just gonna spoiler right here, but I'll ring the bell.
Yeah, read Secret Empire before reading these two.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
It says even as much in the notes.
Absolutely. So Sharon Carter is probably one of the few people who was just kind of biding her time under the rule of Hydra Cap to make her move, and she tries to do it, and she's not successful. So she finds herself in the same cell that Rick Jones was in, and we all know what happened to Rick Jones. That's pretty much the gist of it. Exactly. That's just the gist of this issue is that it's essentially the story of Cap, Hydra Cap, recounting his last moments with Elisa, the I forget what her code name was. Was she Madam Hydra? Or
yes, Madam Hydra.
Yeah, she became Madam Hydra. His last moments with her, and then basically Sharon Carter trying to take him out, which was pretty cool. But unfortunately, she was unsuccessful, and that would have been cool to see her do that if that was the culmination of this story. And if Cap's got to go out, and it's Sharon Carter sticking a wooden stake through his neck, that would have been actually a pretty cool combination to Secret Empire,
But I'd say, and wouldn't that have been again, because wasn't she the one that shot him in Civil War?
Yes, but a stake through the throat,
yeah,
up close and personal, that would have been pretty impressive. So in any event, that was the gist of Steve Rogers number 19. Sam Wilson 24, as Tim is about to go into, is a little bit more. There was a little bit more to it.
So Sam Wilson time.
Yeah.
So this one again sort of leads into Secret Empire number 7, where Sam, as you see on the cover, decides to put back on the suit. That being the Captain America suit. And it's sort of like his sort of internal struggle of should I or shouldn't I, and sort of wallowing in his self-pity.
Yeah.
And Misty Knight trying to talk some sense into him, and then eventually getting some good words of advice from Rayshawn, the new Patriot.
Right.
And that's really, and his brother at the beginning of the issue. So 3 different individuals try to get through to Sam. He finally decides it's time for him to
suit
up and be a bigger part of the resistance, I guess. And next issue teases a confrontation between our Captain Americas in a giant-size issue of Captain America 25. I'm assuming it's giant size because it's a 25th issue.
Yep. Almost as if it was a legacy type issue also.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Question, what happened to the old Patriot?
Rayshawn actually emailed or texted him to get permission to be the Patriot. We found that out in this issue.
Right. It's still a shame. It's still a shame because what was his first name? The Eli Bradley. Right? What's wrong with that character?
Yeah.
Why do we need another Patriot? Like, it has to be someone who only has a link to Sam Wilson and not to Steve Rogers? Is that what it is? What's wrong with the Eli Bradley character? I was very disappointed to see that they were.
It's more cool to come up with new characters.
Yeah, I guess unless they whatchamacallit, develop Eli Bradley into another character, it's a shame that they basically kind of swept him aside.
Yeah, it happens. There's new Quasar, new everything.
Yeah. All right. So, Roddy, you said you had one of the other tie-in issues?
I did. Occupy Avengers number 9. And as I just found out, actually, this book ended this issue, it seems, because it is not in the solicitations. And also, the way it was written, it
It had some
put a dot
finality.
on it.
Okay.
It pretty much put a dot on it because, yeah, it closed. Let's put it that way.
All right.
It even said at the end, to be continued in actually Secret Empire #7. But so basically, at the events of so sometime last issue or before last issue, Nighthawk died. Like just got shot in the street apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that came out anywhere. And then Tilda Johnson ended up being the new Nighthawk. Like that was brought up last issue, and she's also took up pretty much the team lead since Hawkeye was on the front line is on the front line of Secret Empire. So that was last issue, and this is the team. Well, actually, he's still technically leading, but he's like giving them missions basically while he's doing whatever. So they had this mission to go out to the South Dakota and taking out Hydra agents while stocking up and getting more supporters for the resistance, with farmers and whatnot, and also raiding Nick Fury's never-ending supply of secret bases for supplies and LMDs and whatnot. Because the base was like, look, we don't have a big enough force, since some of the big guys, have been taking out the fight or whatever the case may be. So we need every hand we can get. So this has pretty much been the crux of the last couple of issues, is them kind of getting some resistance together, and then we see some characters that show up as a part of the underground in this one. A couple of them I knew, the other one I wasn't too sure of, because it was like Tarantula, Eldoro or something like that, I can't remember, and then some other cat named the Challenger end up showing up while the team is fighting what almost seemed to be a losing battle with a big pocket of Hydra agents. And the fight seems to be progressing more and more, because like more Hydra folks are just coming in and swarming while they're trying to do this. And the book is set up as like, this might be like a last stand, or it seemed to be like a last stand type of issue going into it. And they were like, there were feelings that came out between Tilda and Red Wolf kind of situation. And then they kind of just went out into the battle, and then the book ended. So, and like I said, it says to be continued in Secret Empire #7, which is out also this week. And that seems to be the end of this book, which is a shame, because this book was all right.
Yeah, actually, Bleeding Cool posted in March that it looked like the book was canceled with #9. So
yeah. So there you go.
Wait, so did they really kill the Squadron Supreme Nighthawk in this book?
So, like, okay, so even in the start of this issue, or no, was it last issue? They were showing some people like getting shot, specifically people of color, and there was one dude that was kind of up there, and that could have been him, but they don't say it by name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just show dude just gets shot down. But then Tilda, like later on, this issue pretty much recounts. So like, yeah, he just died. I mean, he died, and this is a war, and that's, and I took a.
And she takes the uniform.
And she took, and somehow she's like, she already had the uniform last issue, actually.
Okay. I mean, I haven't been reading this. It's just that it seems so weird that this character who was deemed fit to have a solo title launch,
right,
in the wake of Secret Wars, all of a sudden is whacked.
Well, yeah, because his title ended, which was also being written by David O. Walker before this, and then he ended up showing up as a means to bring in Tilda to the team, actually, because since she was working with him.
Okay.
And then, like I said, and because even, and I'll have to go back and read this again, but I am fairly certain that the issue before the last issue, which was not a Secret Wars Secret Empire tie-in,
mm-hmm.
Nothing. Had nothing about it.
Okay.
Because in fact, well, a couple of issues prior, we saw Nighthawk and he was working with the team, trying to raid a Hydra base. And like I said, and then last issue, this pops up. I'm like, well, the hell, like, just in the background somewhere. So even if that was him that got shot down, then it was pretty much just like they didn't even say it by name.
Yeah. Well, they leave it out there, so in the hope of maybe bringing him back at some point. So, all right.
Maybe, I doubt it, but.
So we have still some chugging along to do when it comes to Secret Empire.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's see. What do you think, President Bartlett?
What's next?
Dirt, you want to bring up a book?
I want to hear about Action Comics, actually.
Okay. Well, I was going to say everything I have can really be quick hits, except unless anybody wants to talk about Infamous Iron Man and Cable.
I just saw Cable on you. Listen, I totally forgot to read that this week.
But let's see, where's Action? Let me grab Action Comics. All right, so last issue, our heroes were thrust into the Phantom Zone, and two of the villains went in after them. Nobody could really figure out why Zod would send Cyborg Superman and the Eradicator into the Phantom Zone. Turns out they were sent in to find somebody. The whole Phantom Zone thing was they didn't grab the Phantom Zone to push the heroes in, and they didn't grab the Phantom Zone to pull out Zod's troops like all the bad guys thought. It turns out he had a different mission in the Phantom Zone in mind. And so if you could go ahead and ring that spoiler bell. Turns out that Ursa, Zod's girlfriend or wife or whatever, is inside the Phantom Zone with their son. And their son apparently is also superpowered and is roughly the same age as Jonathan. So now Zod and his wife and his superpowered son are the villainous family that can run around the DC universe taking on Superman, Lois, and Jonathan. So
that's convenient.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a little like too on the nose, I mean, in the long run, okay, whatever, it makes sense in that Silver Age kind of way, but it was still, a little hokey. But we do see another appearance from Mr. Oz, as my dog scratches himself and makes a dangling noise in the background. But Mr. Oz makes another reappearance, and he actually pushes Jonathan Kent to be able to use the Kryptonian armor. So he's getting more involved instead of just being a guy who shows up and says a couple riddles and disappears. He's actually starting to manipulate things. So he's moving the DC universe in a way to take on whatever ultimate evil power is out there that we all believe to be Dr. Manhattan at this point. So some fun, rebirth things woven into the story as it goes, but at its heart, it's really all about the villainous family getting back together so that the family of villains can take on the family of heroes down the line. So like I said, it was a little too
convenient.
Yeah, but in the long run, it works and it sets up some obvious confrontations in the future.
I skimmed this, right? I have not been keeping up with this, so I did not know what was going on up to this point. But on the long train ride home, I flipped through it, and I noticed a couple of things. You brought up one of them, which is that Ursa is the character that's brought back from the Phantom Zone, and I couldn't help but think, when did this happen? Do we know when this happened? Like when they hooked up and got and got busy and had a little kid?
Maybe it happened in the Phantom Zone. I mean,
right. Time is different there. So
exactly,
you're locked in prison with nothing else to do. I mean,
Sure. And the other thing I thought was convenient was I remember you mentioned Dirt that Superman had been blinded at some point, and I thought that the cure for that was pretty convenient as well.
Well, the MacGuffin that made him blind
Right.
was the black hole at Belle Reeve Prison that's used by Amanda Waller to keep the worst of the worst supervillains in check. It's basically this almost like an isolation chamber. It's like this black energy vortex that she can toss them into, where their powers aren't going to work. They can't punch anything. They can't move. I mean, they can swing their arms around, but they're never going to travel anywhere. And that is built on Phantom Zone technology, and Superman somehow interacting with it in whatever it was he was attempting to do to it made him blind. So when he gets thrust back into the Phantom Zone, it's using that same energy and power on him again, which ends up, apparently, if you punch somebody once and they get hurt, you just punch them again, and the second one gets rid of all the pain from the first one. That's how it works with the Phantom Zone. So getting thrown back in reversed the effects. But here's the weirdest thing about the whole story is that Supergirl just did a storyline where Supergirl and a couple of her friends get pulled into the Phantom Zone, and it turns out that someone she knew earlier on in her series got trapped in the Phantom Zone, and that person started to go crazy, and she figures out how to make them not go crazy anymore, and then they decide they're going to be the guardian of the Phantom Zone and try to help reform the people that get thrown in there. And so she's just going to live in the Phantom Zone and be like the protector within the Phantom Zone. That is not mentioned here. And nothing that happens here is mentioned in that storyline. So at no point did someone anywhere walking through the halls of DC go, "Oh, you're doing a Phantom Zone story? So are we. Maybe we should compare notes." Never came up, apparently. So it was just a little awkward.
The Phantom Zone is many things to all people.
That's right.
And to be honest, we don't know how big it is.
Exactly.
I feel like I guess it's a trademark of Superman stories, but anytime I hear Phantom Zone, I just like, sounds so cheesy to me.
It's almost like seeing a Quinjet in an Avengers book. I mean, it's just in a Superman book, it's going to be there. It's going to come up at some point.
Like, how many different takes on the negative Phantom Zone can you do?
Well, but think about how useful it is. If they need a new villain for Superman, they could be like, "Oh no, this person was in the Phantom Zone this whole time and somehow got out." Boom.
I guess.
Yeah. Pretty much.
But I did read the previous issue because I think that was Victor, the artist whose last name Bogdanovich, I think his last name is. I think it was his first issue, and I like him, so I read it last issue, and I'll check this one out. Because I was behind a couple of issues, but once the Superman Revenge Squad started going, I was like, "Oh, okay, this seems kind of interesting." I'll start paying attention to this again.
Cool.
Yeah, and there are some neat things that happen to it. So
I like the idea of the Zod family tree.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because the DC universe is starting to turn into like the adult side and the teen side.
I like that.
Yeah, I know, it's just kind of weird. I mean, it makes sense, of course.
Sounds familiar too.
Yeah, but it's the adult side with kids. That's the signifier.
Yeah, there are a lot of parents that read comics nowadays.
Mm-hmm. It was always the case. All right. Dirt, how about let's talk about Flash number 27, unless you wanted to hold off on that.
Oh, I can. No, that's fine. Did anybody else read it?
I did.
I'm trying to get the cover, but it's not working for some reason.
So this was the finale of the Reverse Flash storyline.
Running Scared, as it's called on the cover.
Yep.
Help me keep these guys straight. So Eobot Thawne is not Professor Zoom, right? Or is that someone different?
Long story short, no.
Okay. Okay.
Although, wait, I want to point out one thing real quick. Okay, before we get too deep into the actual story, I want to point out if you look at the credits page to the book, use for those credits, that's the Back to the Future.
Ha ha! I see it now.
Yeah, the time travel Back to the Future font is what they decided to do all the credits in. I thought that was a nice touch on their part.
That is cool.
There was a lot of time travel here.
Yes.
A lot of time travel.
Yeah. Right. So, just before, I guess, the crux of the story is that it's the finale to this. I called it the dramatic end to this story arc, and part of it is the two speedsters find themselves traveling from, I guess the beginning or close to the beginning of time on the Earth and traveling forward. And correct me if I'm wrong, Dirt, but it looks like they traveled through Arthurian times, and they could have had Etrigan the demon in the background, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, he's at the top, and
It is, right? Yeah.
Shining Knight is the one on the
bottom.
Yeah, he's one of the 7 soldiers of victory.
Yes. I didn't.
Was that a scene in the past?
Yes.
Yeah. And then there's
Are those the Hawks in Egypt?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and then the World War II with Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, I figured.
I was going to say the Howling Commandos, but I knew that was wrong.
So yeah, no, I thought that was cool. The nice little Easter eggs in the background.
But one of the things that this story actually brings up, I was actually surprised that they would mention it and actually use it as a plot point, was Reverse Flash appears to lose his powers. And he says, I'll just get him back again. I will, and I'll just keep coming back. Mm-hmm. And no matter what happens, I just keep coming back. And you think you get rid of me, and I just keep coming back. And, it's true. It's like this happens over and over, especially when you have a character that time travels and moves between dimensions. Mm-hmm. He can disappear and then come back later in that issue. And it's actually been like, 50 years he was traveling in some pocket dimension, and, he didn't age because of whatever, radiation, thing. So, he can come back later, and it's actually a younger version of him that Barry fights again in the future. But it's just kind of funny that is one of the staples of Flash and Reverse Flash, is that he just keeps coming back, and Flash can never get rid of him. And they actually use it as a storyline beat, is him saying, well, I'll just get him back. I'll just come back again. I'll do it again. I just keep coming back. And Iris is the one who's basically decides she's going to stop that from happening. I won't say how. I'm not going to say what exactly happens, but I'll just say Iris, I'm going to say makes it pretty obvious that Reverse Flash will not be making any future appearances until they rewrite the universe again.
So one of the really interesting aspects of this particular storyline, and what the Reverse Flash brought to the forefront, is the dual life, the dual identity that the Flash and Barry Allen was maintaining in this iteration, in this volume of the Flash. I guess we'd grown up for such a long time with Barry Allen's identity kind of being out to a lot of people, that this is, it's kind of weird to have him be, kind of running the secret identity thing again.
Well, that was one of the things.
Plot point.
That was one of the things in the New 52 when they restarted, relaunched everything and restarted the DC universe, was that suddenly he had a secret identity again. And he wasn't dating Iris. He was dating someone else in the police department. So it was like his, the main stuff that you knew about his life was different. And that has crept up again and again and again over the years, like with Kid Flash not revealing his identity, Kid Flash, being the nephew,
right.
And him, being beside himself when he finally found out who Barry was and how Barry wouldn't tell her. And that it's been something that's been creeping through the book for a while. So you knew at some point it was going to come to a head, and it finally does in this issue. And it, makes for a pretty different status quo in the DC universe than we've seen for quite a while for the Flash.
Alrighty. Okay. How about, what do you read this week, Roddy? Let's talk about Black Panther number 16.
Well, let's go.
We got something else?
The DC train for a sec, since we're there. Teen Titans number 10. We'll do that real quick.
I read that too.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw that on your list So this is what part 2 of this Black Manta arc. After the events of last issue, Manta and Manta and Jackson's mom meet up and have a confrontation, which doesn't go terribly well for her this issue. When Jackson intervenes and gets taken by Manta, you know, after finding out, you know, that's his dad and this and then the other. Come to find out that that seashell, that Jackson, aka Aqualad, who hasn't gotten his name yet, has on his neck is a map to a weapon that Manta's been seeking out for a long time, which actually, I guess the story comes out later on from Jackson's mom that, you know, that she knew that Manta was looking for it, you know, and hid it from him basically, and also hid the fact that she was pregnant with his child after nearly getting killed by Manta after he couldn't find this. And the other part of this is so there's a little bit of unrest with the team. You know, Robin's kind of going through some things. It seems like, because he's a little more agitated than even Damian is. Beast Boy is like, look, trying to tell Starfire she needs to lead the team or else he's leaving. A fight kind of argument breaks out, and she actually does end up kind of taking control of, you know, of the team for a minute, going into, you know, helping to find out where Jackson is. And then the rest of the issue is Manta and Jackson under the sea trying to find this weapon, and then they get attacked after finding said weapon. You know, after Jackson is trying to get to know his dad, and you know, Manta's not trying to have nothing of it, basically. So I pretty much said it sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean because there's a certain reference to a Black Pearl also with this reference.
Okay, that's where I knew that name sounded familiar.
Because even the story, yeah, because even the story that they were talking about, you know, that was associated with the Black Pearl, was like, okay, is this something out of Pirates of the Caribbean or something? Because it sounds awfully like it.
But yeah, so there's a little like some a power struggle might be going on for leadership of the team. It was kind of slightly pushed. That agenda was kind of pushed with the Beast Boy mentioning how Starfire is the oldest of the group,
right? And the nicest.
And then she starts. She starts to sort of give orders near the end of the issue. So I wonder if that will be followed up on later.
I would like to think so, but I can't imagine Damian taking that line down.
I wish they had actually said how old she's supposed to be, because I wondered that myself. I think was it last week's show or
it was last week's show? You guys had this discussion about whether or not she was still a teen.
I was like, is she a teen?
I don't think she was actually even originally she. Well, I mean, I guess
because she's supposed to. I think they've referenced that her and Dick might have, like, their relationship might have still happened. So she has to be around his age.
They've absolutely brought it up in her book. And
she's an alien. You don't know how they age.
Well, and that's what I was getting to, because it was like, yeah, she probably wasn't a teen even when she originally was with the team. She just so happened to be, you know.
No, I'm fairly certain that that she was like a mid to late teen princess when she first appeared in New Teen Titans in the Wolfman Perez run. That's how they had it portrayed.
That doesn't exist anymore.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, and
until they bring it back.
So, but yeah, I mean, granted, just because you're the oldest doesn't mean you should be the one lead. But at the same time, like, well, for whatever reason she's there, she probably should be, because she's the one actual, probably original member of the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So that's Teen Titans number 10.
yeah.
All right.
But so I guess if you want to now, we can get to Black Panther.
Are we done with DC? Is there any more DC that we want to talk about? Because I've got a DC book if you want to just wrap it up.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Go for it.
So was it Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps number 25? So I have not been reading these books, kind of been on and off. But believe it or not, you do not have to have much of a grasp of what's been going on in this book to really enjoy this issue. There's a lot happening in this issue. Obviously, it's extra sized. It's a 25th issue, an anniversary sized book. There's plenty of stuff that you can get caught up on very, very quickly. If this is the first time reading it, so believe it or not, it's actually fairly new reader friendly in that regard. It's a knockdown, drag out fight over some stuff that's happening between the Green Lantern Corps and the Sinestro Corps, who happen to co-occupy Mogo. They have their joint headquarters set up on Mogo, the living planet, who's a Green Lantern, and basically, without going into too much detail, because I would recommend this book for anyone who just wants to pick up a random superhero story and kind of get into like a lot of dramatic things going on. It's a pretty well crafted story, and for the first Hal Jordan Green Lantern Corps book that I've read in ages, I had a good time reading it. There's plenty of drama. You really only need to have a passing familiarity with some of the characters, and but at the end of the day, there's still lots of drama, lots of great interpersonal dialogue in this, and we find ourselves at the end of the story, having seen a great knockdown, drag out fight between the two corps. John Stewart shines in this issue, so anyone who grew up with Justice League. And Justice League Unlimited with John Stewart as your Green Lantern, you will enjoy this issue too. And at the end, there is a tease of a return of one of the primary antagonists in the Green Lantern universe, and I'll leave it at that. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, they squeeze a lot into this anniversary issue. So if you were ever even a little interested in picking up kind of a high action book and thought about picking up Green Lantern, this is not a bad place to start.
I am actually woefully behind on this book, but I have been reading it.
Me too.
But I'm probably like 10 issues behind at this point.
I'm 4 issues behind, so.
But it's one of those things, like I have them. Like I actually buy them in paper, but I'm way behind.
Yeah, damn double shipping books.
Yeah, well, and I keep like a dumbass. I keep adding books to my pull, so
yeah, because new stuff always comes out.
Right, like I'm reading Cable. Like I'm reading, I'm maybe getting into All New Wolverine. I bought a couple of those so I can read it.
Nice.
See if I'm gonna get into it. I picked up New Superman. Picked up Red Hood and the Outlaws. Yeah, and so I keep throwing these series on my pile, and my read pile is just getting ridiculous.
That's
like 3 DC titles, 3 DC Rebirth titles that I've enjoyed when they started, and I've fallen to varying degrees behind on. Hal Jordan Green Lanterns, actually 4: Hal Jordan Green Lanterns, Suicide Squad, Detective Comics, and Green Arrow. I like them all.
It's funny.
Behind on all.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that I've been paring down my pull list as time has gone on. At least over the last 4 or 5 months. So I'm going in the opposite direction.
I need to do something, but that's a complaint for another day.
And we won't
I was
about to say we won't get into the fact that my money seems to be diverted to Marvel Legends, but that's another story.
That'll come up in the news when I'm gone later tonight. I'm sure.
Exactly. All right, moving on.
But Doug had brought up Cable, so I thought that was a nice segue.
Well, did anybody else read it?
I skimmed it.
No.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I haven't started this one yet. Maybe I don't
missed
even.
issue number 2, so I don't know what's going on. You
know. So basically, Cable has been traveling through time chasing somebody, and everywhere he goes, following after this guy, he's always one step behind this guy, and this guy leaves futuristic, superpowered weapons behind that people in ancient history have, so that when Cable appears, they can attack him. It's been one of those wacky sci-fi, doesn't take itself too seriously. It's like it's like watching Cyborg with Jean-Claude Van Damme or something. It is.
Oh,
And I mean that in the absolute best way possible. It is, yes. Are you kidding me? But it's just been, not afraid to take crazy leaps and do weird stuff and, just roll with it. And what we finally get here in issue 3 is we find out that the person he's been chasing is called Conquest. And Conquest is actually trying to track down a weapon that is left over from the Eternals and Humans War that happened in the ancient past.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and so the sword was broken into 5 pieces, and the pieces scattered throughout time, because the idea is it is too powerful, and anybody who might get their hands on it would be unstoppable. And so this guy Conquest has been going through time trying to grab these pieces, and Cable has been chasing after him. So Cable has got to try to figure out, the guy has 3 of the pieces now of the 5, so Cable's trying to figure out which way he's going next, and to see if he can go to the other place. This guy hasn't been yet, so he can beat him to one of the pieces, because then if he has one of the pieces, then at least, he'll be able to stop him. So in this issue, he's in, I don't know if it's Mayan or Aztec, but he's in one of the ancient civilizations, and the whole society has been rebuilt with a lot of this technology. It's become a lot more powerful and a lot bigger. And so he's fighting through these people trying to find clues, and he finds an unlikely ally among a priest who was originally trying to become a human sacrifice. But now that he's learned what's actually happening, this guy is fighting against his own people who have these superpowered weapons. So it's, like I said, it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is why I like it so much. It's just a fun action sci-fi romp that you can get lost in, that you don't have to worry about too much. And it's just a fun read. I've enjoyed. This is issue 3, so it's not too deep into it. It's just a good, fun book to read that I just enjoy every so often having a break from some of the other very heavy books that we find on the market today.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a weird question about this book also, though, that I've been thinking every time I read it, because it's like every time he's gone into a time period, and they've had these weapons, is he doing something with the weapons after he dispatches all the people that are using them, or he just like, I got things to do?
It seems like he just leaves them.
Yeah.
But he's a time traveler, so technically he could travel back to the moment he left and clean up the mess later, I
guess. Yeah.
That's funny. Dirt, by the way, how dare you trade some bootleg Stingray and American Kaiju figures for my Thors and give them to Matt Wang? Come on, man.
Is that what he's talking about on Twitter?
Yes.
All I know is that the solo Black Adam movie is going to be the new Castle.
Oh, no.
If you saw Castle with Nathan Fillion, according to Tweet Mashup, that's the route that the new Black Adam movie is taking.
That's funny. All right. So let's see. All right. Who's up? Who wants to put up a book so we can get to rapid fire quick?
We may actually already be in rapid fire.
I say we might just need to.
Yeah, let's just rapid fire this.
Infamous Iron Man number 9 or 10.
Go for it.
It's after I finished this was the last book I read before the show, and I finished it, and my first thought, actually my thought while reading it, was how Bendis has managed to give Doctor Doom the patented Marvel mommy daddy issue drama.
He always had it, but he always he had it. That was the whole reason for him trying to, that the whole reason that his experiment blew up in his face.
Really?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and he's been on it every,
So what, he was trying to please his mom?
Oh, he's trying to contact his mom.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because she was a gypsy, right? She was a gypsy, whatchamacallit, a gypsy witch, and she basically was, her soul had been, she either sold her soul, or her soul was taken by a demon, and Doom in college was trying to contact her, and that's when Reed, saw what he was doing. He was like, "Yo, your calculations are screwed up." And next thing you know, Doom is just like, "Yeah, man, nah, man, my calculations are correct. You don't, get your nose out of my books." Next thing you know, blows up in his face.
And wasn't that also? I remember Doom would always show up every 100 or 50 issues of Iron Man, and try to
contact his mom, yeah.
Yeah, and that would be that. It would be something with time travel, or or the mixture of the two.
Right. But I think that what I think Tim's point is still valid in the sense that now we actually have, at least a facsimile of his mom. I haven't read this, so I don't know if that actually is his mom, but we have them confronting each other face to face.
It's Morgan Le Fay.
Oh,
honestly, I was confused for a long time. I thought Scarlet Witch was his mom.
Oh, no.
Because they were like, "Oh, well, she's a gypsy magician woman." And I was like, "Oh, that's Scarlet Witch."
Also younger than him, so that would be a feat.
He's an armor. You don't really know.
Bendis doing the Marvel trope of the, mommy issue.
Gotcha.
Time travel.
There you go. All right, so that's
okay. So actually, the very last page. Did anyone else read this?
Terry read it.
Yeah.
Okay, so did the ending make sense to you?
Yes.
It was like he fell out the sky and armor fell out the sky.
No, so there's a little bit of time that passes between the two pages, because on the left-hand page you've got Doom and his mom in the, I want to say nether region, but that brings up a different reference.
The place between multiverses or whatever.
The bleed or something.
The tear.
The tear, right. And if you notice, the clue that I gave you guys a couple years ago, the word balloons that pop up, they're in uppercase and lowercase, not all uppercase. So those word balloons are actually coming from someone from the Ultimate Universe.
Right.
And so that's who pops up there at the end, at the bottom of that left-hand page. So then when we get to the right-hand page where you see Ben Grimm walking through the ruins of the Victor Von Doom castle, and Doom falls out of the sky, it's a few minutes later. There's been some sort of confrontation that happens, and Doom is expelled out from the tear, and leads to him turning to Ben and telling Ben to get the hell out of there. So yeah, that's what's going on there, is that a certain character from the Ultimate Universe who has a tie to the Fantastic Four has appeared.
I need to look that up then. Go back and look that over.
Wait, not the one that's been floating around already?
Yes.
Oh. Huh. Okay.
He's been in Ultimates, I believe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
To read?
And, yeah.
Well, spoiler bell.
Yeah, man.
Come on, Tim.
he's yes, I was about to say he's been floating around our Ewing books, but since that's
all right.
So anyway, it's still these past few issues where I think Bendis has been told that the life of this book is coming to an end because of generations and legacy and everything like that. They have to clean up a lot of these things going on in the Marvel universe. So he's only got, however many issues. I think there's 2 more issues of Infamous Iron Man, maybe, to clean all this up. So since he's gotten that, wrap it up command, it's been he's finally, started to get the story moving. We don't have as many issues that we used to have where it's just a lot of talking, a lot of talk. There's been a lot more action in these past few issues. And so it's really been an enjoyable series now that it's gotten its guns and headed out.
Cool.
All right. Well, I'll do a couple more rapids here, just real quick.
I think Tim is done. So,
let's see here. Croak number 2 from Alterna Comics. This is another one of those $1.50 newsprint books. Oh man, they smell so good. That's one of the things that the ink on the newsprint is just. Oh my gosh.
Nostalgia is a powerful drug.
It is. But the story it's basically a horror movie. Kids go out into the wilderness to go camping, and a monster appears and is attacking, and they're slowly being picked off. One of them has a camera, so every so often he's catches something on film, and he has no idea what it is, but it's one of these monsters, one of these things out in this forest. And it's only a 3-issue series, so buying all 3 issues is only going to cost you a massive $4.50. And it's just a fun, it gets straight to it. They start getting attacked, problems start happening. This book is all chase and terror and screaming and people disappearing into the brush and all of that type of stuff. So I love horror movies, especially the slasher type ones where people get picked off one at a time as stuff happens. So I've really been enjoying this series, and again, with it being $1.50, it's like you can't lose. Exo Manowar. When I went on vacation month or so ago, I actually stopped at a shop in Wisconsin and picked up all the issues of Exo up to that point. And basically, Exo, if anybody doesn't remember, Exo was a guy from way in the past. He was a barbarian, I believe, in the English countryside that the Romans came and captured. And he found the Exo armor and became this super armored hero, even though he was still basically this warrior from the past. And in this series, he's been thrown into a long time in the future in a galaxy far, far away. And he's called to fight in this grand battle between these factions on this alien planet. And he becomes a powerful general. And it's very weird. Matt Kent, who writes this, is one of these writers that he can come up with the bizarre and make it logical. For a barbarian fighter with an alien Iron Man suit on another alien planet, fighting as a general, forced to fight in one army versus another army, he makes it work. Like, there's so many things going on and so many loyalties tested and so many people are ready to stab each other in the back because they don't trust each other, but then they're going into battle so they trust each other, because if they don't, they're going to die. All these things going on, and it just works. This is the first series that Valiant has done basically since they relaunched that I've really felt strongly drawn towards and I've really enjoyed. So definitely one that I would recommend for people to check out. And then finally, I've got one here called Solar Flare. Solar Flare number 4 from Scout Comics. And this is where a massive solar flare has killed basically all the electronics on Earth. And so everybody is forced back into the Stone Age. And this really happens in the first 24, 48 hours that everything has gone down. So society is still there, but it is quickly crumbling around them. And they have to try to survive as, everything goes to hell. And it's just a really interesting series. It's really well done. The story makes sense in the way that as you're watching it and thinking yeah, that's what I would do. That's how I would, feel in that situation. I might do what that guy just did there. Everything is logical. I don't see a lot of these weird character leaps that they do in some of these series. But the artwork is also really cool because it looks like it uses photographic references and then is drawn on top of it in a way. So all of the backgrounds look real, but they look drawn, if that makes sense.
No, of course.
and all the people look very realistic. But then there's the art style that's on top of it that looks really good. So it's hard to explain, but if you see a copy of Solar Flare at your local comic shop, pick it up and take a flip through, because it's got some really neat artwork. And this is a series that I believe that it's a 6-issue series. All 6 issues have come out digitally, and it's sold well enough digitally that now they're putting it in print. So I'm hoping that this does well for them in print, because I want to see, maybe they'll do a follow-up series, or what else they might have, coming from this writer and this artist, because I've enjoyed this one quite a bit too. So Solar Flare is definitely one that I'll say for people to check out, especially if you're like me and you like a lot of this post-apocalyptic into the world type stuff.
But how does it smell?
Oh, Solar Flare. Well, let's see. Let's do this way. It's more of a cardstock. It's not a cardstock cover, but it's a thicker paper, and these are slick, glossier pages. So it's
the new style, yeah.
It's more of a it's more of a high-end magazine type smell.
So kind of not much of a smell.
Yeah, so it's a little. Sometimes actually the different inks, you can tell when pages that use a lot more black have a different smell to them, because the black ink uses a different chemical, but some of the ones with the green have a different smell. So there you go.
Getting high on comics on this week's Comic Book Chronicles.
Hey, this has been a thing that's come up in the past, so it's nothing new. Actually, I was going to go back to Croak for a second, and was thinking that, or maybe it's just me, that it's been a long time since I've seen that type at the top of it, the X limited run series.
Okay.
Oh yeah, where it's a limited series and they announce it at the beginning, not when the sales drop. And yeah.
All right.
And where Image will suddenly take an ongoing title and be like, oh, in issue 14 and 15, and you're like, what? No, this was supposed to be a forever.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of their books appear to be this way, where I think a lot of these may have started out as trades, and then they've broken them up to fit as comics, kind of going the opposite direction. So you've got a complete story. When the first issue comes out, the last issue is already done, which is a nice feel when you get into something.
True.
All right.
Cool. Well, I can go ahead and do my couple then, which actually I did not mean for this to happen for it to come up in rapid fire, but Black Panther number 16.
Go ahead, cover it.
So storms up in the atmosphere causing rain for some reason, which we don't tend to find out why until
Roddy, you're underwater.
Yay!
All right, let me while Roddy gets back up above, just gets back to the surface. Let me run through. Oh no? Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
But yeah, storms up in the atmosphere doing some things. She's uncovering something, as we found out later on in the book. But that's just sad to T'Challa and Queen Ramonda's gone off to see a council. They're also talking about Storm and how she seems to have a place still in T'Challa's heart, which I'm loving that part about it. But then we get to said council meeting of the new Wakanda Council, and then it goes off into T'Challa trying to find out who stole his friend at the end of last issue. And we come to find out that he goes to New York to investigate and ends up at Club Fenris. And causes a ruckus there, where we also see two members of the Wrecking Crew, Thunderball, and what's the other guy?
Pile Driver,
thank you. Who looks actually smaller than what he used to. Maybe I'm thinking about the other guy. Either way, who's apparently security guard there or something like that. But after the ruckus with the Fenris twins and their blatantly racist comments,
I thought they were dead. Well, one, they're Nazis, and two, they were dead.
That's right. Wait, so
Andreas and Andrea and Andreas Strucker were supposedly, at least in old school continuity, children of Baron von Strucker.
Okay, you know what? I was thinking the Strucker kids were different from Fenris, and I didn't put this. So okay, that makes hella sense now. Then okay, so yeah, so that being that, and T'Challa talks to Thunderball, which I wanted to address Agent 70's notes about T'Challa trying to reform him, and I would say that you could take it that way, but also this may or may not have something to do with this, but back in the Illuminati
Illuminati.
the Illuminati miniseries. Well, it was not a miniseries, but the series from like what was it, last year, whatever the case may be. Thunderball himself was talking about, I'm just as smart as any of these other guys, and this and that.
What about me? What about Raven? What? I'm sorry, that was a wrestling. That was a wrestling reference. I can't believe I pulled that one out.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, I don't know the reference, but yeah, but it was kind of like that then. So, but I have noticed when he has come up every now and then, there's like that gets brought up. The fact that he is indeed as smart as some of these other guys, and in this one, he and Powder were talking about he being the Black Bruce Banner, and then when he and T'Challa was talking, I was like, no, you're not the Black Bruce Banner because there's a bunch of them in prison and that other, which I thought was that whole page was pretty great for that talk. But he was just basically trying to appeal to him as a fellow intellect and recognizing recognizing how smart he is and not treating him as just a villain. And more, I don't know about an equal, but just basically treating them.
I got you.
Yeah, no, this just the message just popped up, just made me think something. But so that's what I believe that is what that's playing into, and not necessarily that he's trying to reform him. Just recognize that he can be better than what he is, and that. So, but it could very well be the case. But because, like I said, I don't think they've had too much interaction. For that to be the case, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But like I said, I think just because this stuff has come up in the last couple of years about him being that smart is probably what part that on. So yeah, like I said, the rest of the issues, they're basically trying to get a lead on where a friend is, and they get that from Thunderball, and get a lead on that. And then at the end of the issue, we go back to Storm.
Yeah,
who comes across some writing or something in the sky that kind of shocks her. Again,
we get my first note was like my first impression upon finishing this issue. It's just more slow burn storytelling by Coates, and it just seems to take
narrative moving. So
it just takes a while.
He's a writer. He does what he
does. Yeah, exactly. I was he tries to throw in a couple of action beats to appease us, but he's got the long form storytelling down pat.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
So that's supposed to mean something. And there was also the thing that, and actually the end of time with the council meeting, that there's some brouhaha happening that ends up being tied in with the gods. That's the whole god storyline that's been coming up over the last few issues, and that's it. And Ghostbusters 101 number 5. I think this is like the penultimate issue, and there's been, speaking of books with more talking than action, this has pretty much been a whole lot of exposition and a little bit of busting. But the crux of this one is both teams, they finally have a plan to figure out how to fix what's going on, fix the rift between their two dimensions and how to get everything back in order. And sounds like next issue, it being the last one, is them going to be putting that plan in action, and presumably them going back to their separate dimensions. And there was also a one of the answer to call Ghostbusters, Abby was kind of finally recognizes like, hey, wait, we're not the only ones that did this, and these guys have been doing this the longest, and she kind of has a little pity party for herself, to which one of the others kind of break her out of it, and then they figure out the rest of the plan. And my final book is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 21. Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur end up on a parallel Earth trying to get away from Girl Moon, who is Eagle the Living Parent's kid, apparently. And I believe she is actually circling around, but she keeps talking about being alone. But that is what it is. But anyway, she ends up on a parallel Earth, ends up meeting I don't want to say a bizarro version of her, but definitely a different from her. with the exception of kind of attitude. So she meets this girl named Devil Girl and her pet dinosaur, Moon Dinosaur. You know, and they have a little squabble for a second, and then some talking happens, and then our Lunella and Devil Dinosaur leaves and goes back to confront Moon, the girl Moon, you know, who is feeling selfishly about herself. So that is about to come into a head, and that is that.
All righty. Let me wrap up our rapid fire section with my books. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Usagi Yojimbo #1. This actually is a story and art by Stan Sakai book. That's pretty cool. It's a fun one-shot story that is a welcome respite from the drudgery of reading Secret Empire. I was talking about this earlier. A small twist in this issue, in the story, makes this an actual first meeting between the characters. Any fans of these characters know that they have met numerous times in comics, but they pull a little bit of a fast one in this one to make it seem like it's a first meeting between the characters, even though Usagi actually says, "Hey, I met y'all before," but it turns out he hasn't met these turtles. It's a fun book. It's got a great, it's just got a great, beginning, middle, and end narrative. So anyone who's a fan of these characters should take a look at this book. Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider #5. Not sure why I keep reading this. It's kind of fun to see Kane, the Scarlet Spider, and Ben Reilly kind of duking it out. And that continues in this issue. They come to detente at the end of the issue for reasons that you'll have to read the issue to find out. But the best part of this issue is the clones duking it out, kind of matching wits, since their spider powers roughly even themselves out, even out the matchup. Spider-Gwen #22. This is an actual potential click of the week because it follows on the events of last issue with Gwen and Harry Osborn, this universe's Lizard, finding themselves in Madripoor, and they're taking on both the Hand and this universe's Wolverine and Kitty Pryde, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm not really sure why this particular alternate universe story appeals to me. It's probably because it's just told in a really fun manner. And I know some people aren't fans of Robbie Rodriguez's art, but I still think the kinetic, and the energetic nature of it is still appealing to me. So maybe that's what keeps me coming back.
I skimmed through this earlier while you guys were talking about something, and I'm a couple of issues behind, but I still wanted to kind of check it out.
Yeah, it's worth catching up. It's definitely worth catching up. And
apparently there's also a little bit of something with her dad that happened.
Well, yeah, I was about to say I wanted to leave that unsaid because ultimately we'll find out what happens with that next issue, because it's really just the logical continuation of what was set up at the end of the last issue.
And actually something happened with that lizard which didn't make totally sense, but again, I'm a couple.
Yeah, you got to catch up.
So,
exactly. Even myself, I think I've got to fill in a couple of gaps in my knowledge in the story, but I understand, the gist of what was happening. It was just a lot of fun with these alternate takes on these characters. And that's my rapid fire. So we can get to the clicks of the week. All right.
Do we have to?
Who's got their click of the week? I'm still thinking about mine.
We are contractually obligated, sir.
I'm doing Flash.
I'm not sure what mine is. I may just
Flash. I've loved. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying I may have to say Flash too, but I'm not sure yet. So continue.
I was just going to say that I've loved the story with Flash and all of the stuff that they've been throwing into it, and all the throwbacks to everything from the past 50 years or whatever. So this is still, one of the books I look forward to that I read first every week. So definitely a favorite.
I think I'm going to pull a surprise. Even though I typed out that Spider-Gwen 22 is a potential click of the week, I'm going to go with pretty much the last book I read this week, and that's Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps #25.
Whoa.
Yeah. I had a lot of fun reading that.
You know it's a DC book, right?
I know.
Okay, I just want to make sure you knew that before you go public.
It's not the only time or the first time I've done DC as a Click of the Week book for me. It's just rare. We know.
I'm gonna keep the DC train rolling, I think, because I'm gonna say Teen Titans number 10.
Wow. Roddy's gonna break it.
Well, that train stops here. Although Teen Titans 10 was decent this week, and shout out to Occupy Avengers, which is ending. But I am going to go with Black Panther number 16. I enjoyed much about that book.
All righty.
So I guess we're at the ads now.
Yep. All right. So let me pull up an ad here. Let me tell you about Skull Candy. Skull Candy makes the best headphones, earbuds, and gaming headsets, all with lifetime warranties. Skull Candy produces many types of audio accessories, including headphones, sports earbuds, Xbox and PlayStation gaming headsets, DJ headphones, and iPod and MP3 headphones. And now, for the listeners of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, Skull Candy offers free standard shipping on your order. To help keep our podcast free, order from Skull Candy by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Skull Candy banner and then shop for high-quality audio accessories with free standard shipping. Skull Candy Audio through cspn.us. Do it today.
And I guess speaking of trains leaving, are we losing you, Tim?
Yeah. So I will see y'all on the flip side.
Anything you want before you roll out? Articles written, something. You've been busting out the words lately, so
I'm sure some of them might be in the news section this week. I wrote about
that.
Some of the San Diego Comic-Con offerings. I enjoyed the Thor Ragnarok trailer.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the leaked Avengers Infinity trailer that I saw a couple times.
I didn't watch it.
I know I posted it.
Yeah.
Or at least I saw a grainy cell phone footage of it.
Yeah, that's the reason why I didn't want to watch it.
Yeah. It was fine. But yeah. That should be it. Flashpoint, Flash film.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I do have your article about that in there also. So nice. All right. Well,
so
we'll see you.
Catch y'all later.
Your toy shipment ends.
Oh yeah, so I have to rewatch the news section to see the unveiling of the toys and whatnot.
Sounds good.
See ya.
All right then.
See ya.
Later.
All right, and from there we now go into the cinematic news portion of the show, and holy hell, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, which we're going to kind of have to do on the rapid fire side.
Well, I mean, how's that different from any other time? We
right.
We don't really take that much time in it. Much to my chagrin. Anywho, Spider-Man: Homecoming director is in talks for the sequel, which seems like a duh moment.
Yep.
So good luck with that.
All right.
Oh,
so
what I was about to do? Hang on. Let me just. I know I was going to do something. But yeah. Speaking of the Thor, yeah. Oh wait, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, as mentioned by our very own at TimDog98, the Hulk is back in the Thor Ragnarok trailer, and he's never looked more smashing. That was an awesome trailer.
Mm-hmm. So if you haven't seen it, you should go check it out on this out there on YouTube, on Marvel Channel, and probably any other site that posts anything similar, because
right.
It got a couple of views.
Yeah, I was about to say, let me fold the next two into this because they're both Thor related. Mm-hmm. So spoiler alert, I'll ring the bell. It was announced that a voice that the voice for a certain character is by an animation vet, Clancy Brown. He's done both DC and Marvel voices. Is pretty famous and infamous for some of these voices. It's cool. Right. It's pretty cool that he's going to be in Thor Ragnarok voicing a certain character.
Mm-hmm.
No spoilers.
Actually,
And-
yeah, voice and live action, because I just thought about he's been in the Arrowverse, and I mean, obviously elsewhere, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
related to, but
Exactly. And also, Thor Ragnarok could be Marvel's shortest film to date, considering that most of them have been pretty long.
no, right?
I don't think this is the biggest news.
It is actually, because if you think about it, like I said, most of the movies have been pretty much 2 and 2+. And
So
this
if it's
one,
an hour and 50, does that really make a big difference? I guess
mean,
it could.
kinda, yeah. Like I said, they've been the minimum of 2, and that's with the stuff at the end. So that's kind of different. But it also says here that there's still a lot of stuff for the Blu-ray and whatnot. So there's probably going to be an extended cut or something.
There you go.
Next up, speaking of more hype news, so at San Diego Comic Con, there was footage of the Black Panther movie that was seen there, which unfortunately they didn't put out, but it was given a standing ovation by the crowd. And also, actually, I'm going to tie in these next couple of,
Yeah, go for it. Fold them in.
because they're then also the cast reaction, because this was the first time that they've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a very positive reaction. If you've checked it out, it was all love from the panel.
All right.
And I think there's some more news, but it's later on down.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see the second half of this one. So this was the next. I thought that the next one was also going to fold in, but then I see it's an animation news story about the upcoming Marvel Spider-Man cartoon.
Right.
And
so the short order is they were just talking about the Spider-Man, upcoming Spider-Man animation, but also they brought up in the course of this panel upcoming arcs for Avengers Assembled, and that would be
that's where the Black Panther part.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is Secret War and an arc with Black Panther called Black Panther Quest.
Gotcha. Alrighty. You got the next one.
Marvel's Ant-Man and Wasp cast Michelle Pfeiffer, Lawrence Fishburne, and Hannah John Kamen.
Wait. Is Keanu Reeves far behind if Lawrence Fishburne is here? Come on.
It is kind of funny given John Wick and The Matrix. So that's kind of funny.
You know?
So Michelle Pfeiffer has been cast as Janet Van Dyne, aka the Wasp. Lawrence Fishburne, I wanted to get excited about this, but I'm not as much because and you'll understand that in a second. Lawrence Fishburne is playing Dr. Bill Foster, who now comes into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I feel like they're just putting him in just to kill him. That is how cynical I've gotten with this.
Goodness gracious.
And also Hannah John Kamen of Killjoy's fame, and well, she had a bit part in Force Awakens, but whatever. She plays the wonderful Dutch, who is playing the Ghost, that noted Iron Man villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's cool. He's whatchamacallit? He's industrial saboteur.
And so shall she be here.
Interesting. Alrighty. So we got some news about
you can wrap these up together also.
Yeah, exactly. We got some news about the Captain Marvel movie at coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. While they did not show footage and Brie Larson was not in attendance, I don't believe. They did reveal, Marvel Studios revealed a bunch of interesting tidbits. First, Captain Marvel. What's that?
Let's say stuff with Doug, who's the ham, but I'm just joking with him. Let me stop.
Oh yeah, I was about to say, just Doug's probably dealing with some stuff.
No, he's got dog issues.
So Captain Marvel, they announced, is going to be set in the 90s, fighting the Skrulls. The Skrulls will be the primary antagonists, and with some, I saw some of the back and forth online, but at the end of the day, James Gunn a while back announced, or at least made kind of reinforced the fact that both the Fox movie studios and Marvel Studios own joint rights to the Skrulls. So that should not be surprising, and it's not a tease for a possible Fantastic Four movie.
And it's actually more specific ones, because basically, Skrulls in general, but Super Skrull,
right? Exactly.
Is on that Fox, and thus those.
Right. That makes that makes the most sense in that regard without being privy to the actual agreements.
Right.
Captain Marvel has also been revealed to not appear in Avengers Infinity War, so we will not see Captain Marvel in the upcoming Avengers movie.
Oh, and also she will be fighting alongside a eye patchless Nick Fury, who has been confirmed because that was a rumor prior to now.
Right. Right. And there's a story I skipped over, but there are definite story influences being drawn from the Avengers Skrull War comic book story that they're going to implement into the Captain Marvel story.
Which makes sense.
Of course.
So, cool beans. Next up, Marvel's Defenders unite in the preview series. So there was a trailer for the Defender series. Did you watch it?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure. It's been a while.
No, this was a new one that was at San Diego.
Right, it's been a while. It's been a week.
Well, yeah, I get that. You're right. That is true. Well, this happened after last show anyway, but still, you're right. It has been a while. Either way, it was pretty good. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. You know what? I'm gonna wrap these next couple on this one. Speaking of Netflix Marvel properties, Misty Knight is coming to Iron Fist second season to show Danny Rand what's up. Hopefully, bringing us ever closer to a Daughters of the Dragon series, which I so desperately want. So that's cool. Last there was Punisher footage, which was apparently decidedly as bloody as you think a Punisher, a trailer for the Punisher would be. I haven't seen that, and I don't know if it's out,
but that works.
Yeah, so we know that's coming, and yeah, actually, does Defenders? Excuse me, Defenders is soon, like in a week or two.
Yeah, it's not far now.
Yeah, so
we'll have something new to talk about soon.
Yeah, when that happens, I still need to watch Iron Fist. Anyway, next.
All right, so stupid Fox. Apparently, in a Hollywood Reporter article covering some of the news out of San Diego, there's word that the Lego Batman movie co-writer Seth Grahame-Smith is already at work on a Fantastic Four spinoff centering on Franklin Richards, the son of Reed and Sue Richards, the Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. Go away, Fox, go away.
No, right. And Valeria might also be involved, from what somebody told me, but I haven't seen anything on that part. But still, they are reaching. I mean, you weren't here last week when we talked about the dude talking about the Doctor Doom movie that he's working on. So right. Yeah, they're really trying to stretch that license.
Goodness. All right, you got the next Fox story.
FX's Legion can't ever cross over with the X-Men films because of some odd reason. We don't know why. However, and I'm hoping this is the next one. Yes. The Gifted, the other Fox property, X-Men property, which has a trailer during SDCC, and I heard it was all right. Sounds like it will tie into a little bit more of the movies, but also promising a new kind of X-Men story. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. How about I fold the next 3 or 4?
Yep.
Yeah, look at that. So the Justice League trailer dropped, and a lot of people went gaga over this. PCN_Dirt, where are you? Because I wanted to hear your.
I'm back. I just came back.
Yay! We're talking about the Justice League trailer.
Slides.
Oh my gosh.
Justice League trailer. What did you think?
I loved it.
I liked it too.
It was good. I was like, oh shoot.
There's a couple of corny parts to it, but I liked it overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't like Aquaman as being like this barbarian warrior guy. Like that just doesn't seem right.
I thought that the effect of him going through the building and then hopping up like he's surfing, I thought that was kind of cheesy.
Yeah, that looked
cool, but it was cheesy.
Yeah, it did look very awkward when he comes out of the building at the bottom and is like surfing along on the body.
Yeah.
And Flash is still kind of up in the air for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Him not being the police
him the Peter Parker. They're making him Peter Parker.
Yeah.
He's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. I mean, that's always something that they can fix in the future. the beginning of this whole thing. But yeah, I loved it. The Infinity War just felt like, hey, we're throwing everything at the wall. Like everything you've seen so far is now getting mashed together and thrown into this thing. Justice League, it's like, hey, we're throwing everything we've got, which is 5 people. And
or AKA, hey, we rushed to get to this part. We hope it works out.
But watching it, just like I love the pacing of it. I love the look of it. I loved you get little bits of humor in there that everybody said was sorely lacking from all the other films. So and we have a mysterious return, or mysterious character appears that is pretty obviously Superman, but we don't know in what form or in what way.
And
coming
possibly
back from the
somebody
dead.
else. What people keep speculating, but we'll get to that in a second. Actually, and the poster kind of reminds me of Queen.
What?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, you know what it is? It's actually inspired by the Alex Ross.
Right, and
poster.
they
Right.
do say that, but it still kind of reminds me of Bohemian Rhapsody. Like they should all just be breaking out in Bohemian Rhapsody. Anyway,
By the way, if anyone out there has an iPhone, ask Siri, tell Siri that you see a little silhouette of a man and see what happens.
does she say Scaramouche?
Yeah, the whole thing. It's pretty cool.
I should do that now. But we're not gonna do that.
Anyway, moving on. There's a couple of cool things that are introduced in the trailer, and I heard it on my first listen, but people were asking me about it, and I did hear this. I did hear the part where Steppenwolf, who I still can't believe is the villain in this, mentions why the Earth is ripe for the taking. And he mentions in the trailer, I'm just going to ring the bell just in case you haven't heard the scene or heard the trailer yet. He says, "There's no protectors here, no lanterns." And I was like, all right now.
Yeah, but
which there's rumored
if they do a Green Lantern Corps movie with Idris Elba as Jon Stewart, tell me you're not going to go see that on opening night.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe the second night, but yeah, okay.
and there's always been rumor. There has been rumors that Hal Jordan's supposed to be introduced, is going to get at the very least introduced in Justice League, but again, that is still at this point rumor.
Right.
And the other thing that's come out about this is, if you're watching the video version, you can see this. So there's a part in the Justice League trailer that Affleck is grimacingly looking at a hologram of what was originally thought to be Superman, but for some strange reason, the people in his in this article are saying it's Supergirl, which I can see that, but at the same time, that looks more like Power Girl suit than Supergirl.
Well, and it looks like she's got tattoos on her legs.
Right.
No, I think that's just a hologram, and there's just like, how the hologram just kind of, because you can see it in the cape too, how it's just like stripy, and I think that's just the hologram tech just being what it is.
Maybe.
As opposed to that being a part of the suit, but who knows?
Big Barda, damn it.
Hey, that would probably also work, but I don't see why he would. Well, actually, it's Bruce Wayne, so I guess he would be like, "Damn, that's a fine woman." Right? No, she's not thick enough with that leg. But anyway,
I know one of the things that they're doing is, the TV universes and the movie universes are two totally separate, entities, and that's for a lot of good reasons that they're doing that. But I almost wonder if there isn't going to be start of parallel universes within this whole film. They're going to start to leak some of that stuff, and that very well may be her.
The link.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know that'd be the actress from the TV show, but it might be that they get somehow this image of Supergirl and they think it's actually Superman from another universe or something. I don't know. It just seems to me though, like as much as I'd like it to be Supergirl from the TV show, I just don't think it's going to be her. Right. And I've heard a lot of people like, oh, well, that's the way that they can bring him in. It's like, I just don't see them going back on that whole no crossover thing, because the moment
great pains in saying no, this is separate. So that'd be really weird for them to go back on that.
Almost as hard as Marvel has been saying that the Sony movies for Venom are not going to be in the same universe as the rest of the Marvel universe.
Hey, I think they said that about the Silver Sable Black Cat movie too. So I don't get that. That's so stupid. Anyway, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway,
so yeah, so I think that's the last bit of news from the Justice League. You want to go ahead and take it?
well, no, I was just gonna say they're spending a bunch of money on reshoots to add connective tissue to the movie.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I mean, reshoots are not uncommon.
Yeah, they're natural.
These movies, so this is the first time there's been a money amount in recent history. I think if that isn't actually the case.
Yeah, and even in a lot of cases, they may be going back and reshooting a bunch of stuff for the simple idea of when we put it out on Blu-ray and DVD, there's going to be a different cut. Like you're going to get a 2 hour and 20-minute movie in the theater, and then we're going to give you the 3 or 3.5 hour, movie on disc, and they're allotting money to film stuff to go in an alternate cut that's only available when you buy it for the home version. So you've got a reason to see it once in the theater and then to buy it and watch it again on disc.
I believe it. Yep. So moving right along, Kevin Conroy, speaking of Batfleck, Conroy crowns Ben Affleck the best live-action Batman, which
everybody makes mistakes.
Which apparently, according to this article, he's been asked that before and said somebody different. So, take it for what it is. Conroy being the voice of Batman, that I don't think is probably unquestionably the best one.
I was gonna say he's undisputed.
Yeah.
So,
but that still doesn't negate the fact that
he can hold his own opinion.
Okay,
which unfortunately has evolved. Unfortunately,
yeah.
All right. So at SDCC, Wonder Woman 2 was officially announced with a date in December of 19?
19, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't say here, but it says somewhere else. Right. But yes, it's late into 19. And I don't think Patty Jenks has been attached yet, which I don't know what the holdup would be. So,
hey,
I don't know. Jason Momoa debuts first Aquaman footage at SDCC, which we also don't see. But yeah.
All right.
Also coming this year, December 21st. So sure.
Okay. DC's Jeff Johns says Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not in the Shazam film. Boo. Hold on.
Out, but
where is it? There you go. Okay.
And we do know they're doing a Black Adam movie at some point, so I'm still under the impression that it's going to be one of those things that like Black Adam kind of comes in as a cameo at the very end. Such a situation, they just don't want to say that.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Next up,
Warner Brothers reveals new title to the Flash film, which Tim said earlier, Flashpoint. Because if you're going to do a Flash film, what story are you going to do?
I was thinking of Dirt when I saw this online, when I saw the announcement about this, because I know that Flashpoint is pretty much the big Flash story of recent vintage. And as Roddy Cat just put it, what other stories would you really delve into?
And has already had it.
That's not in the TV show. Right, that's not in the TV show.
Well, I was going to say,
been done in the TV show.
Yeah.
The thing with Flashpoint, though, is they did it in the animated movies. And once you do Flashpoint is you go into history, the whole universe changes, you have all this crazy stuff you can throw out there, you come back, you set the universe right, but when you set it right, you don't quite set it right, and it gives them a chance to recast. It gives them a chance to update looks. Mm-hmm. It gives them a chance to maybe fix some of the things that they didn't like, that they've, kind of stuck themselves on in the past couple movies. And then going forward, you have a roadmap of all of the stuff. Like they've totally been doing it in the animated movies, where they've been following a lot of the big beats of the DC universe in the animated films. It gives a roadmap for the live action movies, for stuff for them to work through and to draw from to do their stories. So, I mean, it's like when I first heard that that's what they were doing, I was, kind of shocked by it. Like, really? Like, that's where they're going to go? But then the more I thought about it, it's like, yeah, that really actually does make a lot of sense, especially if you're tying the movies into the printed material. and you say, here's Flashpoint, people can walk into a comic book shop and say, hey, I want to read Flashpoint, and they have graphic novels of Flashpoint for sale. You know, you have all these trades and whatever, the back issues even of this stuff. And then they can go, hey, we're going to do this thing with Darkseid and the Justice League. Where can I read that? Oh, well, here, we've got it right here. And they can read it, and they know some of the stuff that's going to be in, you know, that movie when it comes along. And, you know, it just gives them the ability to do all that stuff.
Right. It does seem to, at first blush, it does seem to feel like, wow, they're just going to go ahead and do that one, huh? But at the same time, like I said earlier, what else were you going to do from Flash? So, and everything just said makes total lot of sense.
Yeah, and Flash is also one of those characters that, with all the time travel and the parallel universes and the different versions of Flash, you know, going from Jay Garrick to Barry Allen to Wally West to back to Barry Allen to another Wally West, back to Wally West, you know, all these things that they've done, that it really makes it difficult if you're going to do a movie with Flash for someone to walk in and say, oh, I want to read Flash. Well, which Flash? Right. You know, because they did comics based off the TV show. They did comics based off the old TV show with Jonathan Shipp. They did, you know, all these different, he's been such a different character at different times. If someone goes back and just randomly buys an old Flash issue, they may get one where, hey, it's a guy who's married and has 2 kids, and he has to eat all the time or he runs out of power. And that is a completely different Flash from anything that they're used to today. So, like I said, going to Flashpoint and working from there just gives them a really good starting point, you know, to draw out from. And it connects with what's printed that people can go in the store and actually buy. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and you brought up a point with the animated stuff. Is like, since they did do Flashpoint, I thought about the fact that, yeah, they could just branch that out into the other ones, but I don't recall whether the other ones are even calling any attention to it. Like, I knew they've done a whole bunch of stuff that just like, you know.
Well, like Justice League War was an adaptation of the first Justice League arc after Flashpoint in issues 1 through 5, I think it was.
All right.
Then they did the Aquaman, King of Atlantis storyline. They did, or Throne of Atlantis, I think is what they called the animated movie. But it followed the stuff that happened in Aquaman. They did Batman Father and Son, I think is what it was, something like that. That was the Damian story, and it did a bunch of the stuff with Batman and Damian and Deathstroke. So, I mean, like I said, it's when they say, because like when Civil War came out, obviously the movie Civil War was very different from the comic series we got, but they reprinted the comic series with the movie cover on it. Right. Marvel did that like last year. They reprinted the entire Civil War story from, what was it, 2008, 2006, whenever it was it came out, and put the new movie cover on it. So people were buying it. People came in the store and bought it like crazy, even though the story was very different from what the movie was. And so, you know, DC can just do that same thing with a lot of their books.
Sure.
All right. We've exhausted that one. Young Justice Season 3 character lineup and designs revealed. So here's our lineup of what we're going to get real quick. Static, Kid Flash, Robin, probably Damon looks like, Wonder Girl, what's it? Spoiler, Blue Beetle, all new character named 13, which some people are saying Girl 13 is a character that I don't know anything about. Arrowette, Arsenal, and the Beast Boy.
Okay.
So, yes. And of note, I guess it seems like that, and maybe this could be the picture, but that the Kid Flash seems a little darker, so it may not be Bart who was introduced from the last show, the last season. All right, next.
Some more WB TV, DC TV coming up. DC TV sizzle reel welcomes Black Lightning to the CW.
Yay. Still not connected to the rest of the Arrowverse.
Haha, soon he will be. Don't worry.
Yeah, but did they do the scene with Sinbad where it's like, Batman, I'm Black Lightning. Batman, you know me. Batman, let me in. I'm Black Lightning.
Oh, that's funny.
Supergirl Season 3 sizzle reel debuts Erica Durant as Allura Zor-El, which we talked about was going to happen last week.
Callista Flockhart's Cat Grant is back for Supergirl premiere and will recur in Season 3.
They found some money to give her.
Aha.
Speaking of Supergirl news, Psy is one of the new villains. As a matter of fact, I'm going to couple these next two. Psy is the new villain in Supergirl, played by Jane the Virgin Yael Robglass. Forgive me for killing your name like that, but yeah, she's going to be playing a villain named Psy. I don't know nothing about. Also, hey, look at that face. You know this guy. Adrian Pasteur is going to be playing Morgan Edge in Supergirl. Adrian Pasteur of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Avengers Assemble.
And Heroes.
He was in Hulk, Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's been playing both sides of the field. So now he's on Supergirl. Will be on Supergirl.
All right. Speaking of more DC TV, Emmy winner Michael Emerson is boarding the Arrow train for season 6. Joining the cast as what character? I have no clue.
He's just going to be a part of some cabal.
Okay. Speaking of Arrow, Deathstroke is getting a 2-part episode in season 6.
Yeah, congrats to Manor Bennett. Flash news, and I think I can couple these next two also. Danny Trejo joins the Flash in season 4 as a character named Breacher, an interdimensional bounty hunter.
I was about to say, is he gonna be blonde?
Not Lobo.
Bleaching his hair. Oh god.
All right. Not Lobo, apparently from Earth 15, who happens to be, man, CBR with their typos. Jesus. Gypsy's father, who apparently is already on the show and is going to be causing some problems for Cisco, who apparently is dating said daughter.
All right. And the other
also, Tom Felton will not be a return as season 4 regular series regular. So Malfoy is not going to be around a lot.
All right. Speaking of the other DC TV show, Legends of Tomorrow trailer at San Diego Comic-Con introduces the season 3 threat and Bwana Beast. Really? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got Roddy Cat to cough up a lung on that one.
You know, because I had that same reaction. I was like, really? Oh, I mean, now granted, that show's been goofy for a minute, so that makes probably more sense than not. And there's another piece of
let me wrap up
news later on, but I can't find it right now.
I was gonna say the next two I can wrap in.
Actually, I did put it there, so that's it right there.
All right, so Legends of Tomorrow, Sarah Lance's character will have a season 3 love interest, and it's going to be a new character.
It is.
And Legends of Tomorrow also announced that Tracy Ifichor is a season 3 villain.
Yeah, she's going to be playing season 3 villain, and actually who has shown up before in Vixen as the sister of said character. So we're actually getting a live action version of Kawasa, Mari's sister, being not played by the same person who played her in the animated version. Gotham finds its Sophia Falcone and Teen Wolf alum Crystal Reed.
All righty.
Another Falcone, yay.
Yeah. So they've announced the death of Superman and the reign of Superman comic book storylines are going to be adapted into animated films.
Yay.
All righty.
The Ray battles not.
Wait a minute. They already did that.
You were waiting.
Yes, thank you. Because they already did that. They did a movie. It was Superman. Was it Superman Doom? Was that what it was called?
They actually did Doomsday.
Was it called Doomsday? Yeah. It came out in 2009, maybe 2010, somewhere in there.
Like mm-hmm.
It was not the most faithful adaptation, but nonetheless, it was. 07. Wow. So it was Superman fighting Doomsday and dying, and it had the Eradicator, and it had Superman come back, and it had, it wasn't great, but they've done it, so that's weird that they're going back to the well.
Well, guess what? Late 2008, we are getting Death of Superman, and 2009, we are getting Reign of the Superman.
2009.
2018. in 2019.
Good job.
Thank you very much for that catch. We are getting those follow-ups. Yeah, I don't know.
Back to the
Well,
back
hopefully
to
it's more. Hopefully it's more true to the source material than the other one
Seems
was.
like.
All right. So,
But
okay, you talk about your other stuff.
The Rey battles Nazis
the
in
news.
first trailer in animated series. This is going to be a CWC joint. I don't think there's been any.
Did they put the wait? They moved the Rey back in time? Goodness.
Yes, they did.
Okay. All right. So they dropped a new digital short in advance of the next Kingsman movie, The Golden Circle. I have not seen the first Kingsman, so I can't.
I just watched it. Actually, after watching this, I just watched it this past week.
Okay.
It wasn't bad.
All right. You got next.
Yep. Todd McFarlane to write, direct R-rated Spawn movie for Blumhouse. And the matter of fact, I am going to, because there's also where is that one? Because I want to just go ahead and get rid of this one out of the way. So there's also, he apparently envisions Leonardo DiCaprio as the lead.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
Wait a minute. Leonardo DiCaprio to play Al Simmons?
Yes.
That doesn't seem
logical.
Right?
Yes. Agreed.
Huh.
So yeah, I don't. Again, I guess this was him talking. The article's in there somewhere, and I'm not gonna go for it. We'll pass it in a second. DuckTales gets dangerous. Darkwing Duck joins Disney XD reboot. So now the universes, apparently the supposed separate universes, are now joined.
All righty. At San Diego Comic-Con, the first clip of the Big Hero 6 series debuted. Have not seen it.
Yeah, neither have I. Actually, I haven't seen the movie.
You should. It's good.
I hear that. Yeah, I actually have it. So I know that and Incredibles is probably going to get another run. Pour another round at Shorties because Winona Earp is getting a third season on Syfy. Congrats to that show.
Okay. Ivan Reitman confirms an animated Ghostbusters movie for 2019.
That was weird, but sure. Sony options female empowerment comic Princeless for movie. So congrats to Jeremy Whitley of Unstoppable Wasp fame also, but this was his creator-owned book, I believe, with Emily Martin. So yeah, there you go.
All right.
More comic book getting optioned.
Josie and the Pussycats snag more of Riverdale spotlight in season 2 of the show.
Which great because Josie's a cutie.
All righty.
Yeah.
Are we going to page 2 of the sheet?
Page 2 of the sheet. Lionsgate eyes John Wick universe expansion with ballerina film. I just watched both of those films also.
They're awesome.
They are good. They're a bit silly.
Oh, come on.
They are, but like you just let yourself go with it.
Exactly.
It's fine. But yeah, and I'm not saying that as a knock on it because I enjoyed watching both of them, but it was like this is quite silly, but still was good. So yeah, so there's gonna be a spinoff called The Ballerina, and apparently this world needs more stuff because there's also going to be the comic book that's coming later on this year.
All right. So Rogue One, Darth Vader actor joins the cast of the Han Solo movie. Now we know who's going to appear there.
Yeah, it is appeared. Although at first I was thinking, wait, is he going to be as himself or is he going to be as Vader? Which I guess would make sense given there is history between the two characters. Well, not the two characters, between another character that's going to show up. So I don't know. Anyway, Deadpool 2 director explains film's approach to Cable's origin. And I don't.
Alrighty.
Sure.
June Foray, rest in peace.
Yes.
Rocky and Bullwinkle show voice star dies at the age of 99. God bless her.
And not just that, because she did
a lot of animated voices that will ring many bells. Specifically, Jokey Smurf for we '80s kids. That's a heck of a voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was looking at her. She did a lot. That's right, because there was a couple of them that would stand out even up until a few years ago that she did, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, here we go. That's Envisions DiCaprio's two stars. Actually, you know what? I don't think it says here that he.
It would be for Al Simmons, right?
Yeah,
Probably for somebody else.
Star as a star of the thing, so that could go whatever. It's still kind of silly.
Might be the devil.
You know what? Yeah, I can. That one I could see actually.
Yeah, he might be the devil.
Yeah.
Actually, could Leonardo DiCaprio be playing the Violator, the big fat clown?
That would be interesting too.
John Leguizamo character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, Leonardo is a method actor, so he would legitimately put on 400 pounds for the movie.
Right. I mean, either one of those would probably work in that case, especially given what you said.
That was good. Alrighty.
But anyway, Galaga animated series based on the classic arcade game in development, because we are definitely getting more arcade games to some sort of other media form. Which is
Look, I am totally okay with this. Galaga seems like a weird choice to make an animated series, but if they make it and then they finally release like Pole Position and give me the Rubik's series and the original Pac-Man series. Cube? Yeah, they did a Rubik's. You don't remember the Rubik's cartoon?
I totally remember that. That's why I said that. Yeah.
Yeah, the little blue head on the cube.
Oh, that was terrible. Oh God. But I mean,
no, I watch that every Saturday.
I did too, but that doesn't mean it wasn't terrible. I mean, hell, we also came from a time where there was Turbo Teen, which I'm gonna talk shit about Turbo Teen because I love that show.
This is what I got to think about this.
Oh, stop it. But yeah, like the Galaga. I mean, no, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, we have the Centipede book that is out now, and Sword Quest book also, and we also just got the Castlevania Netflix series, which actually was pretty good for being so short. So I am curious about this, and I'm still hoping they don't ever do that asteroid movie though. But anyway, Star Wars's Warwick Davis has a role in Han Solo spinoff.
Not as an Ewok.
Not as a Wicked, apparently. Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's see here. Exclusive first look info on DC Universe original movies, a 10th anniversary collection. So
we kind of talked about this, and I didn't have the article the last time we did, but yeah, they're basically putting out a whole slew of all of the other. Speaking of actually the animated movies that have came out before it, and is Doomsday in this? Actually, yeah, the first one. Doomsday is in this lineup. And a whole slew of other ones up into Judas Contract and the Batman Harley, which I thought was not out yet. But yeah, so if you don't have any of those movies, that would probably be a good time to get it. And there's going to be a bunch of features and stuff that are coming along with it.
Right. In more DC animated news, anyone who needs to binge watch Justice League and Young Justice better do it this weekend, because these shows are leaving Netflix, and Justice League Unlimited too are leaving Netflix as of August 1st.
And more than likely, they'll probably show up on that whatever new streaming service DC is cooking up.
Yeah, that was my thought too. That the new DC app that they're doing the original content for, it would make sense that they'd want those on there as a reason for people to download the app and watch it.
Mm-hmm. So, but if you got Netflix, go check these out because these are great shows. Let's see, Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot was a real Wonder Woman for little girls at Comic-Con. So Gal Gadot showed up, as a part of the Justice League staff and all that, and they were doing signings, and she was talking to the little girls that was and other folks that were dressed as Wonder Woman, and just giving them all kind of feels, and it was a beautiful thing. So, and anybody who says that representation doesn't matter, just need to check this out, because it does definitely matter.
Next up, yeah, I was about to say, during a Comic-Con interview over the weekend, Michael B. Jordan spoke to Entertainment Weekly about the relationship between T'Challa and his character Killmonger, and he compared it to the relationship between Professor X and Magneto.
probably a little bit more confrontational, but sure, yeah, that's maybe that could happen. I mean, that's probably going to be the case. We will see in a few short months. Spider-Man: Homecoming's Iron Spider suit was created for Infinity War.
That works.
It definitely does. So, confirming the fact that apparently Spider's going to be in there. So, yay. And last but not least for cinematic news, if you do have no soul whatsoever, then walk away right now because you're terrible people. But
Okay, I'll see you later.
Later.
Well, we already know you're soulless. But, so watch Lupita Nyong'o's joyous dance around Comic-Con as the Pink Ranger. So Lupita Nyong'o of Black Panther and Force Awakens and way many other movie fame went around Comic-Con dressed as the Pink Ranger, and she was having a ball if you check out the video. So it was quite adorable. Thank you.
Alrighty.
So you should check that out.
Let's see.
And now we are going to get into the comic book news, which I don't have. So we'll be doing this on the fly because I had to
Rapid fire.
Something like that. So Toy Corner, we started off with again this week with General Leia getting the badass Star Wars action figures she deserves. It is not just her, but they're just singling her out. But they were basically at Comic-Con. There was the lineup of the new Star Wars toys that were being shown, and you've got Han, Old Man Han, and a bunch of others because this thing is apparently still loading or whatever the case may be. And Maz Kanata, speaking of Lupita Nyong'o, and wait, who is that? That's
no idea.
Rex. Thank you. I knew it was one of them.
No idea.
Yeah, because it was Rex and Cody, and not that you could really tell them apart because they're clones. But anyway, and of course, Princess, aka General Leia, and in background, Phasma and Lando Calrissian. So yeah, more toys for folks. Also, in Toy Corner, we have Namor, Black Bolt. This is pretty much was your baby, Agent 70, because I got it from you.
It's so awesome. So
yes.
I'm so jazzed to finally get a Black Bolt because he was in exclusive San Diego assortment, I believe 2 years ago. So they announced that there's going to be these two characters are going to be part of the Black Panther wave that's due out in the spring of 2018. So Namor will be there, Black Bolt will be there. They also announced that Medusa is going to be part of a Walgreens exclusive, another character that was in a San Diego exclusive package, and
hopefully better hair than the Inhumans trailer.
Oh no, let's not go into that again. So yeah, she'll be a part of the kind of pseudo FF Fantastic Four wave that's coming out in Walgreens.
And other toy news. So yeah, that was good. That articulation looks crazy. More toy news. Sideshow Bob. What was I about to say? Sideshow Collectibles had their thing, and there's a bunch of stuff from them that was shown off at the show. It was good looking stuff. All right, next.
San Diego Comic-Con, DC reveals final versions of Dark Knight's Metal's Evil Batman.
Yes. And we have a picture if you're watching the video version.
There you go. Take a look. They're all pointy.
Yeah!
They are all pointy.
Get your devil horns out now.
So,
DC's Duke Thomas set to star in ongoing series.
Yes. And I finally, and it finally hit me why he is gotten the code name that he's gotten.
Okay, well, you'll have to explain that one to me later on.
No. How does Commissioner Gordon communicate to Batman?
Really?
Seriously. Think about it.
But seriously?
Yeah, that's where you got it from.
Okay, moving right along.
I don't
know. It still seems dumb for that to be the reason, but okay.
I don't know what the name is. What's the name that they're giving him?
Signal.
Oh,
he's the Bat Signal.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, take it up with Scott Snyder.
Maybe I will. Phantom Girl joins.
Has he been writing All-Star Batman? Because I got a few things to take up with him.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. So speaking of the Fantastic Four, Phantom Girl joins Plastic Man, Mr. Terrific on new Rebirth team. The DC's version of not Fantastic Four.
Hey, it's Metamorpho. I'm gonna buy it. Done deal.
I like Metamorpho.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. So last week I said that I thought, because I think we did kind of mention this also last week talking about the Plastic Man part of this. I thought it was the Outsiders, but apparently it is the Terrifics. So Mr. Terrific, Mr. Terrific gets a team. And
yeah, I mean that's the best part of this news.
Yeah,
the fact that it's a play on the Invincibles, the whatchamacallit.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
And on the Fantastic Four just bugs me just a little bit. So
yeah, and Jeff Lemire is writing it. So
well, the Fantastic Four were originally made as a ripoff of the Justice League, so it all comes full circle, right?
All righty.
Okay.
You know,
Wade and Samney takes over as Captain America with issue 695, because guess what? They're throwing that numbering again, and that's not going to be none the least confusing.
Yeah. You know, God forbid I'm able to, organize my comics at some point. Anyway, Marvel Legacy Spider-Man is going to reintroduce the Iron Spider and the Sinister Six.
So, yay.
Okay.
And yeah, this is going to be the Miles Morales Spider-Man book that is going to transition into 234. Again, numbering. Which still doesn't make any sense, because I was like, well, it makes sense somewhere, whatever. Because it's taken over for the ultimate number from what it said. But new Sandman, Invincibles. Invisibles.
Yes.
Yeah, that word. I know words. Tease that.
No, because then you make it sound like something completely different.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hey, Vertical is invisible to me. So.
Oh.
And I apologize. That was me.
The views expressed herein are solely the views of Cat on Twitter.
Come at me. I gives no care. Actually, I just hadn't really checked out any of that stuff. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, Vertical panel. There's going to be a new Sandman for those who love the Sandman and Invincibles.
All right. So Saga ruled the 2017 Eisners, winning 4 awards. But shout out to the Vision for winning an Eisner as well.
And also Representative John Lewis for March Book 3, and a bunch of other people who got awards. There you
go. Congratulations.
And actually, the Hernandez brothers got honored into the Hall of Fame, and I believe
Walt Simonson.
Thank you. I knew you were going to pick up on that one. So congrats to all of them. Let's see. Damian Wayne, Arkham Asylum 2, Damian Wayne, Future Batman Explained. So we're going to get, I guess it's a Grant Morrison joint, and there's going to be another book with Damian as Future Batmans.
All righty. Frank Miller is going to write a Superman origin story, and the crowd answers, why?
I like how this story is like, because he basically, messed up Batman. So
God,
that's me paraphrasing. That it doesn't actually say that, but
all righty,
it's funny. So yeah, why not? Equal opportunity love. Bill Sienkiewicz leads the New Mutants retrospective, which takes me back to the Canceled Heroes Con panel that he did, which I don't have no idea what it was going to be about. Now that I think about it, but it was just him. So yeah, this is him talking about and actually getting slightly personal in during the course of this panel. But this is him talking about his run on the New Mutants.
Right. This is actually featured on John Suntress's Word Balloon podcast this week. So yeah, make sure if you want to catch up on this panel, download the podcast and give it a listen. Shout out to John Suntress and Word Balloon.
Exactly. Hey, guess what? We talked about Sonic the Hedgehog last week, I believe it was, and he will be zipping over to IDW as we have internally talked about, which I still think seemed like Boom would have been a better fit or a more logical fit. But yeah, IDW has been doing that stuff also.
Yay!
So Sonic.
Yeah, but I mean, IDW has done My Little Pony and Angry Birds, and they reprint the old Popeye stuff. I mean, they do a lot of kids books, a whole ton of kids books.
Even for Marvel, they do some good stuff. So yeah, I'm not saying that they could do it because, like you said, and yeah, totally. It was either going to be them or Boom, logically. So hopefully they do something good with it, which I no reason not to. So they're putting together their creative teams now and whatnot for that.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'll take the next one. Gears of War returns to comics this January. Speaking of video games.
Yeah. Right. Oh, come on. Oh, interesting. So Rat Queen's writer Curtis Weeby is going to be the one helming this. So, okay.
Alrighty.
In sad news, Marvel and indie comics legend Fabulous Flo Steinberg passes away at the age of. It doesn't say here. Okay. Which passed over the past week, and she was a much beloved and sounds like influential character in the Mary Marvel bullpen and in comics in general.
Yeah. So while Roddy fixes his being underwater status, I'll take the next one. Apparently, it's a Twitter link to. It's Sana Amanat. It's Sana Amanat, editor at Marvel, with a picture of her with the gigantic lockjaw promoting the Inhumans IMAX and television show at San Diego Comic-Con, and it is a nice picture.
Yes, well, yeah, in more ways than one, but yes, I just thought it was an adorable picture.
That works for me.
Yes,
that works for me.
And she's adorable and an awesome person, so why not? Speaking of more Comic-Con news, my words are failing me. Jesus. John Lewis leads March for Civil Rights through Comic-Con. I believe he has done this before, but this is this year's version of it. Too much applause and too much fanfare.
Sure.
So.
Alrighty. In Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 news, new trailer dropped, and Kang is apparently one of the antagonists, or it's actually the game's antagonist. So that's pretty cool.
I believe he is the big bad of Lego Marvel 2, which if you haven't played the first one, it is, or any of those Lego games, it's Lego-ized versions of the Marvel characters. They're fun, and there's a lot of Lego-ized stuff and puns and stuff. So it's good, and that's coming out fairly soon. Fairly soon being November 14th. So look out for that. Marvel Legacy teases. Actually, I'm gonna couple these next couple. Teases Black Panther and more, and I think that was it for that one. But we also get the 1 million BC version of Iron Fist and the Phoenix. And I believe there was some more that were in this, but yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, we don't need.
I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
And Doctor Strange and a few other people. Yeah, the 1 million BC thing is a thing, and it is here to rock.
Goodness gracious. Anyway, and last but not least, Brian Herbert announced a faithful graphic novel adaptation of Dune for all the fans of Dune out there. There's plenty of them.
Because the spice must flow.
Haha. All right. So
is it going to be like 100 issues? Like, how is he going to do this?
Actually, there's apparently a 3-part graphic novel and another Dune book after that he's working on. So yeah.
All right. So we are at the end of the comic book news portion. Do we have time for just some quick toy, not quite unboxings, but just
sure, we can show them out. We got as much time as we want.
All right. So we'll keep it quick. So now that we've reached the end of the news portion of our show, we're in the toy corner. And if anyone has been following me on Instagram, oh no, PC_Dirt has put up an image that says, I'd buy that for $1.
I'd buy that for $1.
Which he did talk about the RoboCop figures from last night. He doesn't have a RoboCop. He doesn't have a figure. That's a shame. That guy needs a figure.
So I picked
Petition.org. Sorry.
I picked up the 2-pack Spidey Homecoming figures, Marvel Legends of the empty helmet of Iron Man, the drone Iron Man suit, and the Tom Holland sculpt maskless Spider-Man. And one of the exclusives that came out of San Diego was available on the Toys R Us website. And I made sure to let everyone know to order it. It is the A-Force Marvel Legends set. Bring it up to the camera. This is the front of the box. This is the back of the box. And I'm going to open up the flap and reveal the 6 figures that are part of this. It's pretty awesome.
Yes, I'm waiting.
Can't wait to, yeah, exactly. Can't wait. I just got this today. Literally was on the doorstep today.
Nice.
So that's that.
And for me, which if you've seen on Instagram, you know about this already, but I ended up getting the Soundwave Masterpiece. I guess this is a reissue with tapes.
Yeah, I got that a couple years ago when it came out. That is awesome.
This is the newest or the last reissue. And yeah, so you have Soundwave, arguably the best Decepticon, with his tapes and Energon Cube.
I say, if you look online, someone put out a PDF a couple years ago that you printed out on photo paper, and it's got inserts that you put like in the Energon Cube to make it look like it's got the like purple energy. Actually,
right.
You know, when they would fill the cube, you can put that in there, and then it also has inserts to put in Soundwave's chest, because in the old cartoon, a lot of times his chest would be like the little radar, thing, whatever. So you can actually cut those out and put them in there, and it's perfect for that masterpiece size figure. So take a look online. If I find the link, I'll send it to you. But
yeah, do that.
But yeah, someone made those. And the other thing is, I don't know if you have any masterpieces. When you go to transform the masterpieces and do stuff with some of the different parts, you'll go, I don't understand where this is supposed to go, and I don't understand where this fits. And it's because a lot of times they leave stuff out of the English instructions.
Huh.
So find the Japanese instructions online. If you can go to the Takara Tomy website, the Japanese version, use Google Translate to make your way through. If you get the actual Japanese instructions, there's a lot of stuff that they leave out on where you can put stuff in to hide it away and tuck stuff under and attach things when he's in different modes and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you look into that.
Thank you for yes, that's a great tip. Thank you for doing that, because I totally didn't know. Yeah, this is my first masterpiece Transformer, so I did not know, and it's gonna be a second before I unbox it anyway, because I need to clear off some space. I'm upset because there was another Transformer that was an exclusive figure for San Diego Comic-Con that was supposed to go on sale at on Hasbro's site. And I told the story off camera, but these figures, and I'm kind of bummed that I did not catch it then, because I didn't want to, just our man in the field, Matt Wayne, was getting some stuff for folks, and I was like, well, he already said that was probably might be difficult, but so I was like, well, let me go ahead and do this. So if anybody can find a good lead, I probably shouldn't even put this out there. Anybody can find a good lead on the Optimus Prime Primitive exclusive from San Diego Comic-Con. It's like a black and gold version with a little headmaster, or with a little Titan Master, and a skateboard, which looks like the skateboard that was in the movie. You can at me as long as it's not too, because there are plenty of eBay, as you would believe, eBay listings of ridiculous pricings that I am not going to go and pay.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody happens to come across with a fairly cheap, relatively cheap version of that, we can parlay. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And we got one more ad to round this night out. Unless anybody else something else.
No, it doesn't sound like it. So this episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool t-shirts that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirt designs on sale each week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture. Cleverly themed t-shirts inspired by movies, video games, TV shows, and comic books, and much more are all on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today.
Unmute, silly person.
Haha.
And as we round the bend and close out this here Comic Book Chronicles, we would like to thank each and every one of you for coming to check us out. I would like to give a shout out to my best friend Teron, who was apparently in the YouTube chat for a minute. He's been my best friend from I apologize. I missed a couple of things because apparently there was a couple of messages there. Gene Paul, Ace Peter actually gave us a shout out in the chat, and I missed that while we were running through news. He said he couldn't stay long, but keep up the great work. So thank you for that. And and my best friend is still in the chat. Thank you very much, my boy. That's my brother. We've known him since 8th grade. I love him to death. That's my boy. You will probably be hearing from him quite soon. Actually, not on this show, but in other stuff because we're planning some stuff out. He also made a comment of "She Is Life." I'm not sure who. Oh, Lupita Nyong'o. I know him that well. So no, that's who he's talking about. So anyway, before I go into another coughing fit, thank you guys for coming out. You can follow us individually at our Perfected Spaces. Agent 70, Twitter, Agent_70. And also on Instagram, go check him out because he's there with the toy pics and all and those other findings that makes one William Bruce West sometimes jealous. So I actually kind of wonder how you come up with findings. So, although I do know in certain cases because you and I follow some of the same spots. I just don't look at them as closely as you do. But also PCN_Dirt. You can find him at PCN_Dirt on Twitter. You can also find him at Pop Culture Network. Go check out his stuff on that site. You can also check him. It's so silly. Also Pop Culture Net on Twitter, all one word. You can also check out his Instagram, Graham Comics Reviews, where he has been belting out the week's comic reviews.
Actually, there's a typo this week, so go see if you can find the typo.
All right.
Okay. There you go. And you can go hit him up for your no prize or for his no prize that he's going to give you because he gives you no prize. And you can also find one TimDog98 on Twitter. You can also find him at CBCron on also the KLIQ Nation Twitter. That's DKLIQNATION, all one word. And also thekliqnation.com where you can find this very podcast and all the other stuff that he and sometimes a couple of us writing. Go check him out. He's writing for a whole bunch of other people for CBR, Nerdist, and all that. So go check out Tim in his various places. But you can also check out me at RowdyCats on Twitter. You can also check me out on at NewsNerdsNeed on Twitter, where I tweet out nerdy links. Go check it out. Some of the news we talk about gets put out there beforehand. Stuff that I enjoy. Also, if you want to, you can my Instagram for comic panels that I find almost every weekend put out there. CBCaps. That's CBCAPS. That is my Instagram. Go check it out. You can also, if you want to, my Radicat Instagram, but I don't post there that much anymore. So but you can find this very show on the network of greatness that is the CSPN. That's CSPN.us. You can find us on pretty much every podcast spot of choice. Google, that other iPlays. It will be on Spotify at one point. I don't know, but wherever podcasts are served, you can probably find us. You can also, if you so please, want to go and help us out, because these podcasts, we give them to you for us with the kindness of our hearts and the time and effort. But go help out the CSPN network by going to shop.cspn.us and I don't know, clicking a link or two and buying some stuff at Amazon or the places that we have had ads for. Adam and Eve, because you know comic book people have sex too, so you ain't got to do that. And that brings us to the close of this. Anybody else gonna get any closing words?
Rest in peace, rest in beats, Chester Bennington.
Indeed. And with that, we are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are out.
Signing off.